G'day, that's Slot Car Guy here, and welcome back to another slot car review. And it is Slotter's turn with this beautiful LOLA T70 Spider. This is what you get when you cross a slot car with a model car. So stick around and let's check this out together. And a massive thank you to Armchair Race for getting this to me because this is quite a limited piece. So let's check out Slotter's LOLA T70 Spider. So welcome back to another slot car review, and it is Slotter's turn with this absolutely stunning LOLA T70 Spider, which you can't see because it's inside this beautiful tin box. And yes, it is a tin box. Who is Slotter? Well, they were a Spanish manufacturer of slot cars, and of course, Spain is the epicenter for slot cars. That should be their national sport, slot car racing. But let's have a closer look at this beautiful tin box that it comes in. It is part of the Slotter Classic range, and this car inside was released in 2008, and it is most definitely a limited run. So in regards to this review, it is going to be quite different. I am not going to do a hot lap with this car. I will do a test lap, but we're not going to time it because it is limited edition. It's not mine, and it's not meant to be a racing slot car. This is definitely what a slot car looks like when the manufacturer wants to make it as close to a model as they can. So let's crack it open, let's zoom on in, and let's have a look at the LOLA T70 Spider by Slotter. So let's step back in time, back to 2008 when this car was released. And what did you get when you purchased it? Well, this absolutely stunning tin box, which we've already had a close look at, but what's inside? You've got an information card which has a picture of the race car, car number 30, and then some information down here about the driver, the car, and the track that this car won at in 1966. Now that is the serial number, which I was tricked. I thought that was the car run number, but of course there is only 1,500 of these that were produced in 2008. Now the magic is underneath these two foam covers, and I'm just going to tilt it up and show you. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. But before we look at the car, what else do we get in the box? Well, this little baggie, it has got your driver who is unpainted. Well, his race suit, his helmet is unpainted, but it looks like his face has got his tan color. Now the driver was Dan Gurney. He drove this car in 1966. So Dan, you're a lucky man. So let's take out the car. Let's zoom on in because there is a lot of detail on this. I do want to get a good close-up look at it. So we'll zoom in on the car and let's have a chat about the finish of this beautiful LOLA T70 Spider by Slotter. So let's take a closer look at Slotter's LOLA T70 Spider, and straight away this is a very impressive looking slot car. But let's start off with the base itself because I'm blown away by the look and the texture, and this is definitely textured. Those grout lines are definitely etched in and painted a different color. But what I think is very smart, I believe, and I'll tap it, that this is a piece of tile and they've etched in the design to get the look and the feel. I could be wrong, please hit the comments. Maybe it's a piece of plaster or similar, but it does feel like tile. Very, very smart. And of course, the beautiful LOLA T70 Spider sitting there, posed perfectly. That rear of this car, how they've got that situated, I think is very, very smart. And it looks really good on display. And of course, there is two screws holding that back section up in its standing position, which that's fully detached from the rear of the car. Now, of course, the car in question was driven by Dan Gurney. He drove this at Bridgehampton in 1966 and won that race, which was the second round of the Can-Am series. So I think this would have been a handful to drive, so Dan must have been a very good driver. But let's have a quick look at the rear. I'm going to try and get as less glare as I can and as less shadow. But that motor work is some of the best that I've seen. And keep in mind, this car was made in 2008. But take a look at that. But what else I think is very special, you cannot see the slot car motor in there. There is a motor in there running this car, and you cannot see it because it's covered by the gearbox, the engine, and all the detail work. But I'll see how far I can zoom in before it zooms itself out, but that is incredible. Exhaust going over the rear, got the rear of the gearbox at the back here. Love the trumpets on top of the motor. This car was made in 2008. I think that's incredible. Let's move around to the cockpit because there's a couple of details I really want to point out here. And this roll bar that's over the top of the head of the driver. I love how that's tilted down away from the driver, which would have been, I'm guessing, in the real car. So the driver will sit here, the head's covered by the roll bar, then it tapers away. Really cool looking touch. But let's stay inside the cockpit because this is where a lot of the detail that I think matters is on this car. Now this windshield, this massive windshield that goes around the front of the car, has been formed perfectly. I don't know what technique they've used, but there is a bit of bubbling effect in there that makes it wave, which I think that looks outstanding. And I'm trying to get some good shots here so you can see the angle of that windshield. But what also is very cool is on top we have the revision mirror, which is in chrome, and everything is either chrome or shiny. Now I'm going to tilt it a fraction, and there you go. Look at the size of that revision mirror, which is looking over the top of the motor when he is driving. Really, really cool. And of course, a nice little chrome fuel filler. But I've got to show this off because I thought this was very genius. Behind the steering wheel, and this is the steering wheel right here, we've got all the electrical work for the back of the dash that's running down away from the driver. Really good touch. And then of course, and I'll try and get as close as I can, there's some pedals behind there. And for some of you young people who are watching, this car was a manual. What's that? Not an automatic? No. This had 3 pedals, so really, really cool. And another great touch is that support beam that goes across. I'm going to try and turn it and get as good of a vision as I can. That support beam, it's going across underneath that revision mirror with the holes drilled into it. That's also used as the dash support, which again, I'll try and get a really good bit of footage of that, which you might not be able to do because it's going to be very shiny. But inside there you can see a little bit of the dash support going on. Very, very nice. And of course, 2 fire hydrants that's sitting in the passenger well. But I just love how this, you can continually see through the whole cockpit down to the feet. Really, really cool. Let's move around to the front. I'm trying to move it slightly so it's not making anyone seasick. But I love this blue. I think blue is a very hard color to get right on a car. And I think using this design that they did back in the day with this white design going over the arches has really shown off the lines of this car. So I'm going to turn it around and try and get a good vision of that, which I think looks absolutely incredible. Look at the shine. I'm trying to get rid of the shine, but I just can't. Very, very nice. And of course, I'll turn it around. There's a little air scoop in the front, which would have cooled down some kind of a radiator or something similar, which unfortunately on this model is just a painted piece of plastic with a bit of texture to it, but very, very nice. And of course, car number 30. But I think this is incredible. It feels like it's got urethane tyres on it. The rims look very, very nice. Obviously, they'll be period correct. Now, I will take it off the base and show you underneath, but I cannot do a tear down on this. There is a fair bit of components that I need to take apart to try and show the motor. And I also won't do a run around the track because I will show, when I take it off the base, that the meshing of the gearing to the motor isn't correct. So we'll probably do some damage or chew a gear out if I do run it, and I'm not going to pull all this out to try and get to the motor. But I will take it off the base, we'll have a quick look underneath, and I think we've given this car the love that it deserved. Now I have removed the car from the base, and all it took was one screw which holds in the underneath of the car, but there you go, that's the underside of the car. And of course it is a running slot car. We've got the braid up the front with the guide. This is a working slot car. Now I have left the rear of the boot or the bonnet on the base. I'm not going to take that off, but as you can see at the rear, let's turn it around. There's some more detail I want to show off here. Look at the suspension on this thing. Is that active? I don't think it is. It's just there for show. But what a job they've done on this. Incredible. And of course there is a motor in behind all of this. So it's such a beautiful car. And I'll see if I can get a little bit close now of the dash now that I've got it off. There you go. You can see a bit more of the dash work in there. Really, really well done. So hat off to you, SLOTER, for doing this back in 2008. And of course, it's a limited run. Only 1,500 of these were built. And of course, SLOTER was a Spanish manufacturer. So there we go. Very beautiful looking slot car. I'm not going to run it. Let's see if I can hear. As you can hear, I'm spinning the tyres, and it is most definitely skipping a tooth or two. So I won't be running this on my track at all because I'm not going to go in there and try and remesh it. But a beautiful looking slot car. So a massive thank you to Armchair Racer for sending this to me. This is not mine, this is on loan, and I will be sending this back, but I just wanted to show the other side of the slot car world. This is a working model that you can put on your track and send around the track itself. Yes, there is some other companies now making very similar design cars. When I mean design cars, the model-like cars, but this was a very, very good effort for back in 2008. Do I recommend this style of slot car? If you're a collector, these are a must. If you're not a collector and you do want something that's your Sunday driver, of course, look how gorgeous this thing is. I'm a bit of both. I like to race and I like to collect, so this would be something that I would collect in the future. And of course, I appreciate this on a shelf. So as always, at that slot car guy on Instagram, thanks for watching. If you do find one of these, please try and grab one. They are collectible. But hit the comments if I've given some wrong information about the base itself. And let's have a quick look at that while I'm talking. The base itself, please let me know. But that definitely does feel like a tile base. But always take care, be safe, ciao.